You know, every great piece of writing, every killer essay, it all starts with just one paragraph. But the question is, how do you make that first one really count? Well, today, we're pulling back the curtain and showing you the blueprint. It's a super simple structure that's going to transform your openings from this thing you dread into an absolute launchpad for your ideas.
Oh, we've all been there, right? Staring at that blinking cursor on a totally blank page, it can feel like the absolute hardest part of writing anything. But what if I told you there's a reliable formula for this? A way to craft a powerful introduction every single time. It's not about waiting for some magical stroke of genius. It's about mastering a proven technique. Your introduction, really, it has one big job: to make a killer first impression. It's got to hook your reader right away, set the stage for your argument, and convince them that sticking around is going to be worth their time. And guess what? It all boils down to just 3 core components.
And here it is, the blueprint in all its glory. It's a simple 3-part plan. First, you've got the hook, which is all about grabbing your reader's interest. Then you have the transition, which smoothly guides them to your main point. And finally, the big one, the thesis. This is the engine that's going to power your entire essay. So let's break each of these down.
Okay, first up, the hook. Its only purpose in life is to be so interesting, so compelling, that your reader literally can't stop reading. Now, there's no single right way to do this, but you've got several really powerful techniques in your toolbox.
And just look at all the options you have. You could kick things off with a powerful quote from an expert, or maybe a shocking statistic. You could paint a vivid picture in their mind, tell a short personal story. You could even start right in the middle of the action. The key here is to pick the tool that best fits the vibe and topic of your essay. For example, using a quote from an authority figure right at the start, that gives your topic instant credibility. This quote here about adding examples to hit a word count is a perfect hook for an essay on writing strategy. It's direct, it's practical, and it's something every writer can relate to.
Here's another great hook: a startling statistic or just a really focused number. Imagine starting an essay with this. A strong thesis should focus on just 1 to 3 specific points. Bam, that simple number immediately creates a rule, a point of interest. It makes the reader lean in and think, why that specific number? I need to know more.
So, you've hooked your reader. They're on board. Now what? You can't just throw them into the deep end of your main argument. You need a bridge. And that's exactly what the transition is. A couple of carefully written sentences that walk your reader smoothly from that cool opening line to the core idea of your essay, which is the thesis.
And that bridge leads us directly to the most critical, the most important part of your introduction, the thesis statement. You should think of this as more than just a sentence. Honestly, it's the very foundation that your entire argument is built on. Get this right and everything else gets easier.
So what exactly is a thesis statement? Well, think of it like a promise you're making to your reader. It's usually just one sentence, right there at the end of your intro, and it clearly states the specific, arguable claim you're about to prove. It's basically the roadmap for your whole essay.
But here's the thing. Not all thesis statements are created equal. A really strong one has a very specific anatomy. So let's go through a quick checklist of 6 qualities that separate a kind of weak thesis from one that gives you a rock-solid foundation for your writing.
Okay, so a strong thesis has to be specific and precise. It needs to be arguable, not just some obvious fact. You have to be able to demonstrate it with evidence. And finally, you've got to present it with forcefulness and confidence.
Let's zero in on one of the most important points here. It has to be arguable. This is so key. Your thesis can't be a simple fact that everyone already agrees on. You know, the sky is blue is not a thesis. A strong thesis takes a stand. It's a point of view that someone could actually disagree with. It's the start of a real conversation.
And this really drives home that whole point about confidence. When you write, "I believe" or "I feel," you're actually making your argument weaker. It makes it sound like it's just your personal feeling, not a solid claim. Instead, just state your point like it's a fact you're about to prove. That authoritative stance is what's going to persuade people and build your credibility.
All right, so the theory is great, but let's put it into practice. You know, the fastest way to really understand what makes a strong thesis is to look at some common mistakes and see exactly how to fix them.
Okay, first big mistake, just announcing what your topic is. "My paper will explain" is a classic trap. Don't do it. Instead, just make the claim directly. See how the stronger version doesn't talk about the paper? It just presents this really interesting, arguable idea that the paper is then going to prove. So much better.
Next up, please avoid stating an obvious fact.
Advertising companies use sexual appeal to sell products. I mean, yeah, duh, everyone knows that. So what? The stronger version takes that fact and offers a specific, debatable perspective on it, that it's actually become ineffective. Now that is an argument worth reading.
And finally, you gotta steer clear of being way too broad. The life of Abraham Lincoln was challenging. Well, sure, but that's so vague you could write 1,000,000 pages on it and still not be done. The strong thesis narrows the focus down to one specific aspect of his leadership. It gives the writer a clear, provable argument to build on. See the difference?
So there you have it. That's the blueprint. A powerful introduction isn't some big mystery. It's a machine with 3 simple parts: a compelling hook, a smooth transition, and a strong, arguable thesis. Now that you have the tools, the only real question left is this: what conversation will your next essay start?